Today I'm going to talk about bank statements for people who are looking to go to study overseas. And here I'm going to focus more for people with the fully funded scholarships. The question mostly I receive from people is, for the students who are getting fully funded scholarships, are they required to submit bank statement in order to get the visa to go to study in the countries where they're supposed to go to study? So there are two types of students when it comes to the finance or cost of living in that particular area where you are going to study. Number one is the student who is going to self-finance, or rather we call self-financing students, meaning they are going to cover everything on their own. Whether it's themselves, whether it's the parents, whether it's the relative, is going to pay for the tuition and fees and the living expenses. But on the other side, there is another group of people where you are going to get fully funded scholarships, meaning the institute you are going to study, the university you're going to study, or there is an organization is going to pay for tuition, fees, and living expenses. And some of the organizations, they go further. They are going to pay even the visa fee and sometimes the flight ticket. So for those people who are going to do self-financing students, obviously they will be required to show who is going to cover those expenses. For that particular case, they will need to have the bank statement. So that is easy. Everybody knows that. But what happens for people who have fully funded scholarships? They are not required to submit the bank statement. Bank statement is not needed if you have fully funded scholarship, because the purpose of the bank statement is to show who is going to pay for tuition and fees and living expenses. And once you have a fully funded scholarship, guess what? The person who is going to pay will be in the admission letter and also as well as the scholarship letter. So if you have full scholarship, maybe Fulbright, or you have chevening, you'll have a granted letter that you have been admitted to this university, and maybe chevening or this university is going to cover these expenses. For that particular case, you don't need to worry anything. And I know that among other things because I went through the same process. When I had a fully funded scholarship, for the first time under Fulbright, I didn't show anything rather than the grant letter. And once again, when I was doing my master's, I showed the 2 scholarships I received, and that those type of letters acted as the document for tuition fees and living expenses. But if you are going with your spouse, or you are going with your dependents like children, they might say that despite of that full scholarship, you need to have additional, because those are additional costs. The cost of living is calculated just for you, but if you are adding a spouse, they'll tell you, oh, maybe add just $5,000, show that you have that kind of expense. You'll be able to cover those kind of expense when you go to study there. But if you are going on your own, there is no bank statement requirement for fully funded scholarships. And that is what makes it easier for people to get a visa. I usually tell people, if there are 2 people going to the embassy, one has a fully funded scholarship, another one is going to go as self-financing. The person with the fully funded has higher chance of getting visas than the person who is going to do a self-financing himself or herself to study in that particular country.